All right, let's get right into it. Job interviews, whether you're just starting out or aiming for that next big leap, they can feel like a real pressure cooker.
Oh, yeah. Totally. You hit the nail on the head. That feeling of having to showcase your entire professional self in like a really limited time frame. Yeah, that's something just about everyone can relate to.
Exactly. And today on Everyday English Pod, we're not just skimming the surface of common interview questions. We've got this fascinating collection of real job interview dialogues here. And our goal is to dig deeper. You know, we want to understand not just what questions are asked, but the real why behind them. And maybe even more importantly, the smart thinking that goes into crafting truly effective answers.
Yeah, and what's really interesting when you look at these conversations is you start seeing patterns, right? Recurring themes. It becomes pretty clear that interviewers aren't just like ticking boxes on a resume.
Right.
They're trying to get a sense of how you think, what your core values are, and, well, how you tackle different situations in a professional setting.
Right. Okay, so let's dive into that opening question we've all probably heard. Can you tell me a little about yourself and your professional background? Seems simple enough, but why do they kick things off with this? What are they really trying to learn?
Well, this is really the interviewer's first big chance to get a broad stroke picture of your career journey.
Yeah.
They want to see how it lines up with what they're looking for in this specific role. So they're looking for a concise summary, you know, the key points.
Okay.
For instance, we see examples here of candidates mentioning their degrees, like business administration, and then highlighting the most relevant parts of their experience. Maybe it's 5+ years in project management or, you know, a decade in the tech industry.
But it's more than just reciting your resume, though, isn't it? There's got to be a knack for making this answer impactful.
Absolutely. Totally. Notice how one candidate here, they made a point to mention the company's innovation and commitment to sustainability. That little addition, it shows they've actually done their homework. They're already connecting their background to the specific values of the company they're interviewing with. It kind of signals, hey, I'm not just looking for any job. I'm genuinely interested in your company.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about showing you're intentional. Okay, now another question that often comes up, it focuses on why you're interested in this company. What attracted you to our company?
It's not just about needing a job, right? What's the deeper meaning here?
Exactly. This question dives right into your motivations. It's about whether your professional goals and your values actually align with the company's mission and its culture. So when a candidate expresses genuine interest in, say, innovative projects and the collaborative culture, it shows they're proactive. They have an understanding of what makes the company tick. They're showing they've thought about where they would fit in and what genuinely excites them beyond just the basic job description. It definitely shows you've done more than just a quick Google search 5 minutes before. Okay, next up, questions about handling pressure. Tight deadlines seem to be a recurring theme. What are interviewers hoping to learn with these kinds of questions?
Well, they basically want to see how you function when the heat is on. Simple as that. And the most effective responses, they tend to emphasize practical strategies. Things like being able to prioritize tasks efficiently, maintaining clear lines of communication within the team, and staying laser focused on the ultimate goal.
Right.
These aren't just empty phrases. They indicate, you know, a structured and thoughtful approach to managing stressful situations.
And then there's the classic question about a challenging project. We saw an example in the dialogues about overhauling a CRM system with a really tight 3-month deadline. What made that a particularly strong example of handling a challenge?
The strength of that example, it really lies in the specifics. The candidate didn't just say, oh, I tackled a tough project. No, they provided crucial context, what type of project it was, the specific constraint they faced, like that tight 3-month window, and the concrete actions they took, like meticulous planning and coordination. This paints a really vivid picture for the interviewer of their problem-solving skills and how they perform under pressure. It's a classic behavioral question, by the way.
Wow.
They're looking for evidence of past behavior to predict future performance.
Right. The details really make the story believable and, well, impactful.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the strengths and weaknesses question that's a real tightrope walk for a lot of people. How should you approach this?
Yeah, it can feel tricky. The key here is really finding a balance. You want to highlight your positive attributes, things like leadership or strong organizational skills, but also show self-awareness by acknowledging an area for development, maybe something like public speaking. But, and this is crucial, the next step is explaining what you're actively doing to improve in that area. That demonstrates a growth mindset, which is huge.
Exactly. It's not enough to just admit a weakness. You need to show you're actually taking steps to overcome it. What about questions about staying current in your industry? Why is that important to interviewers?
Oh, that question is all about gauging your initiative, really, and your commitment to ongoing learning. By mentioning specific actions like attending industry webinars, subscribing to relevant publications, or actively participating in professional networks, you demonstrate that you're proactive in keeping your skills and knowledge up to date and relevant. It shows you care about your field.
It shows you're invested in your career beyond just, clocking in and out. Teamwork and conflict resolution are also frequent topics. What are interviewers looking for in those responses?
They're basically trying to assess your ability to collaborate effectively and, importantly, navigate disagreements constructively. When you're discussing conflict resolution, emphasizing skills like mediation, maintaining open communication, finding mutually agreeable compromises, that's essential.
Right.
And the ability to, say, bridge communication between technical and non-technical teams, that often comes up as a particularly valuable asset. It shows you can connect with a diverse range of colleagues.
That's a great point. Being able to translate complex information for different audiences is huge. Now we get to the core question, why should we hire you? This feels like your moment to really make your case.
Absolutely. This is your big opportunity. You need to synthesize all the experiences, skills, and passions you've discussed and directly link them to the company's potential for success. You need to articulate clearly, persuasively, why you are the best fit for the specific role and how you can contribute to achieving their goals.
And remember, the interview isn't just a one-way interrogation, is it? Asking questions of the interviewer is also really important.
Precisely. Asking thoughtful, relevant questions, maybe about team dynamics or current projects, it shows genuine engagement, sincere interest in the role, and frankly, it also demonstrates your critical thinking skills. Plus, it's your chance to gather more info to decide if this is the right fit for you too.
Okay, so we've covered some of the foundational questions. Now, our collection of dialogues includes a second interview that seems to delve deeper into work experience. What were some of the key insights from that conversation?
Yeah, in this part, the focus really shifts to getting specific examples of past performance. So when the candidate explained their reason for leaving a previous role as seeking new challenges and opportunities to grow professionally, that's a positive, forward-looking way to frame a career transition. They also touched on practical skills like multitasking, even mentioning specific time management tools and techniques they use. It gets more granular.
And the successful project question popped up again, this time with a focus on a marketing campaign. What made that a compelling example of success?
Well, the effectiveness there came down to the quantifiable results, like a 30% increase in client engagement. That's concrete.
Right.
And the candidate made a clear connection between those results and their specific actions, implementing targeted strategies and collaborative efforts. Again, it's all about backing up your claims with concrete outcomes and illustrating your approach. Numbers help.
We also heard a breakdown of their problem-solving methodology. What were the key steps they outlined there?
They described a pretty logical step-by-step process. First, thoroughly analyzing the problem, then brainstorming a range of potential solutions, maybe consulting with colleagues for diverse perspectives if needed, and finally, selecting and implementing the most effective solution. It demonstrates a really organized and collaborative way of tackling challenges.
And what about what motivates people in a professional setting? What resonated in that part of the dialogue?
The candidate highlighted being driven by achieving tangible goals, continuously learning new skills to stay sharp, and contributing meaningfully to the success of both the team and the company. These intrinsic motivators suggest a genuine passion and commitment, not just collecting a paycheck.
Adapting to change is a big one in today's world, definitely. There was an example of quickly learning a new software system. What made that a good illustration of adaptability?
What made it stand out was that the candidate didn't just learn the new software for their own use. They also took the initiative to train their entire team on it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that showcases not only personal adaptability, but also leadership qualities during a period of transition, going the extra mile.
In receiving feedback, it can be tough. But how you handle it speaks volumes, right?
Absolutely. Viewing feedback as a valuable opportunity for growth and improvement and actively working to implement those suggestions, that demonstrates a receptive attitude and a commitment to continuous development. It shows you're coachable.
Lastly, in that second interview, they discussed their future career goals. What's a good way to talk about those?
Well, expressing a desire to take on increased leadership responsibilities and to be involved in impactful projects that significantly contribute to the company's success shows ambition, but also a focus on making a real difference. It aligns your personal career path with potential benefits for the organization.
Now let's shift gears to a conversation with a candidate who has a solid decade of professional experience under their belt. What kind of questions and insights tend to emerge at that career stage?
Yeah, with a more extensive track record, the interview naturally delves deeper into the specifics of their day-to-day responsibilities and their strategic contributions. So this candidate described their typical workday as involving a significant amount of coordination, meticulous timeline management, and ensuring high standards of quality assurance. It gives a much clearer picture of their operational capabilities.
And with that level of responsibility, effective prioritization becomes even more critical, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. This candidate mentioned using tools like Trello and Asana to manage their workload, specifically highlighting how they prioritize tasks based on deadlines, the overall importance of the project, and any dependencies within the team. It just reflects a more mature, organized approach to handling complex responsibilities.
We also heard about their experience in improving existing processes. What was a notable example they shared?
They talked about streamlining a previously cumbersome reporting system, which resulted in an impressive 50% reduction in the time spent on data entry.
Wow, 50%.
Yeah, that's a concrete achievement that really quantifies their ability to spot inefficiencies and implement effective time-saving solutions. It shows impact.
And at that more senior level, what kind of unique strengths might a candidate bring to the table?
Well, interestingly, that ability to bridge communication between technical and non-technical teams came up again as a key strength.
Wow.
It just underscores its continued value in facilitating effective collaboration across different departments and skill sets. It's a surprisingly rare and valuable skill.
Effective team communication is always essential. What strategies did this experienced candidate highlight for ensuring smooth communication within their teams?
They really emphasize the importance of regular, productive team meetings, fostering an environment of open and honest dialogue, and leveraging collaborative digital tools, especially important now, to keep everyone informed and aligned, particularly on complex projects.
Sometimes tough decisions have to be made for the greater good of a project. What was an example of a difficult decision this candidate faced?
They described the challenging situation of having to terminate a contract with a long-standing vendor who wasn't performing.
Oof, yeah.
It demonstrates their ability to prioritize the success of the project and make difficult yet necessary decisions, even when they involve established relationships. It shows backbone.
Staying organized in a fast-paced work environment is crucial at any level, but maybe especially with more experience. What specific techniques did this candidate mention for staying on top of things?
They emphasize consistency, consistently, using digital tools for task management and scheduling, setting clear, achievable daily and weekly goals, and maintaining a well-structured overall schedule. It's about having systems.
And it's never too late to think about professional development, is it? This experienced candidate also inquired about opportunities for growth within the potential new company.
That's absolutely right. Showing a continued commitment to learning and professional development, even with a significant amount of experience, signals a proactive mindset. It shows you're not resting on your laurels and you want to continue growing and contributing.
Okay, let's transition to a dialogue that began with a focus on the candidate's educational background. What were the key takeaways from that part of the conversation?
Well, starting with something like a master's in business management, that provides a strong academic foundation, right? But the subsequent discussion really highlighted the practical skills the candidate had developed in previous roles. Things like strong analytical abilities, proven project management proficiency, and experience successfully leading diverse teams, all highly valued competencies.
And how did this candidate approach the inevitable question about handling unexpected challenges or setbacks?
Their response emphasized a calm, methodical approach. First, remain calm under pressure. Then, quickly assess the situation to understand the core issues. Develop a clear plan of action, execute that plan efficiently, and crucially maintain open and transparent communication with all stakeholders throughout the process. No surprises.
Leadership experience is always a significant plus for employers. What specific example of leadership did this candidate provide?
They described leading a cross-functional team in the successful launch of a new product under a very tight deadline. That's a powerful example. It demonstrates key leadership skills coordination across different departments, managing time and resources efficiently under pressure. It's tangible.
What strategies did they mention for fostering success within their teams?
They highlighted setting crystal clear objectives, ensuring everyone has the necessary resources to actually do their job effectively, and cultivating a supportive and motivating work environment where team members feel empowered to contribute their best. It's about enabling success.
Dealing with underperforming team members can be a delicate situation. What approach did this candidate describe?
Their approach involved addressing performance issues promptly and directly, providing constructive, actionable feedback, offering support and resources for improvement, and collaboratively developing clear improvement plans with specific, measurable goals. It demonstrates a proactive and supportive approach, not just punitive.
And what did this candidate consider to be their most significant professional achievement to date?
They cited successfully managing a high-budget project that not only met but actually exceeded client expectations and was delivered ahead of schedule.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a substantial accomplishment that clearly showcases their ability to handle complex projects and deliver exceptional results.
Balancing those long-term strategic goals with the day-to-day, shorter-term tasks, that's a constant challenge. How did this candidate explain their approach to that balance?
They emphasize consistently aligning their daily tasks and project work with the company's overarching strategic objectives. This ensures that all efforts contribute to the bigger picture and helps maintain focus on achieving those long-term goals. It's about seeing the forest and the trees.
Finally, in that segment, the candidate touched on their reasons for being interested in the specific company, highlighting its reputation for innovation and commitment to employee development.
Right, and this just reinforces the importance of showing that your personal values and career aspirations are a good match with the company's culture and the opportunities it provides for growth. It's about that mutual fit again.
Let's now turn our attention to an interview with a marketing manager. What were some of the driving forces behind their choice of career path?
Well, they expressed a genuine passion for understanding the intricacies of consumer behavior and a real desire to create impactful marketing campaigns that effectively drive engagement and ultimately boost sales. That enthusiasm and commitment to the field really came through.
Staying motivated through the often long life cycle of marketing projects can be tough. What strategies did this candidate mention for maintaining that motivation?
They emphasize the value of setting smaller, more immediate goals along the way, kind of like milestones. Celebrating those small wins builds momentum, and always keeping the larger end objective firmly in sight helps maintain focus and drive throughout the project.
Failure is, well, it's part of any profession, especially creative ones like marketing. How did this marketing manager discuss their approach to handling campaigns that didn't quite hit the mark?
They stress the importance of thoroughly analyzing the shortcomings, digging into why it didn't work, extracting valuable lessons from the experience, and then actively applying those insights to refine future strategies. It demonstrates resilience and a learning-oriented mindset, not just blaming external factors.
Teamwork is often crucial in the marketing world. What did this candidate identify as the key elements for successful collaboration within a marketing team?
They highlighted clear and consistent communication, mutual respect for each individual's contributions and expertise, and a shared understanding and commitment to the overall vision and goals of the marketing initiatives. Everyone pulling in the same direction.
Managing budgets effectively is always a key responsibility. How did this candidate approach working with tight budgetary constraints?
Their strategy involved carefully prioritizing essential marketing activities, actively seeking out cost-effective solutions and resources, getting creative and diligently monitoring expenditures throughout the campaign to ensure they stayed within the allocated budget. Fiscal responsibility.
Work-life balance is a topic on many people's minds. What were this candidate's thoughts on achieving a healthy balance?
They recognize the crucial importance of maintaining a healthy work-life balance, not just for their own well-being, but also for sustained productivity and creativity at work. They emphasize the need for effective time management and setting boundaries.
The marketing landscape is constantly evolving, maybe faster than most. How did this candidate ensure they stayed up to date with the latest trends and technologies?
They described a pretty proactive approach, regularly attending industry conferences and workshops, actively participating in relevant online courses and webinars, and consistently networking with other professionals in the field. Constant learning.
And of course, they shared an example of a successful marketing campaign they had led.
Yeah.
What were the key results?
They highlighted a specific social media campaign that resulted in a significant 40% increase in online engagement and a substantial boost in overall brand awareness. Again, tangible evidence of their impact.
40%, wow. Finally, what were their specific goals and aspirations for the marketing manager role they were interviewing for?
Their goals included a desire to innovate current marketing strategies, significantly enhance the company's online presence, and ultimately contribute directly to the company's overall growth objectives. It showed a forward-thinking and results-oriented approach.
Okay, let's now explore some dialogues that began with the candidates outlining their overarching career objectives.
Yeah.
What kind of aspirations were typically expressed here?
Yeah, common career objectives included a strong desire to lead high-performing teams and to drive strategic initiatives that would significantly contribute to the company's growth and overall success. It indicates ambition and a focus on making a substantial impact, moving beyond just individual contribution.
The ability to handle tight deadlines effectively is crucial in so many roles. What approach was consistently emphasized in these dialogues?
The key strategies that kept coming up were meticulous, proactive planning, the ability to effectively prioritize tasks based on urgency and importance, and maintaining clear, consistent communication with the team throughout the project. No surprises, everyone aligned.
What was often cited as the biggest professional success by candidates who started by discussing their career objectives?
Leading a significant product launch that resulted in a substantial, say, 25% increase in sales within the first quarter, that was a frequently mentioned achievement. It underscores their ability to drive tangible business results.
What was typically identified as their greatest professional strength in these conversations?
The ability to analyze complex, multifaceted situations thoroughly and then develop effective, well-thought-out strategic solutions, that was often cited as a key strength, particularly for those aiming for leadership roles where strategy is key.
How did these candidates typically describe their approach to managing and leading teams?
Their approaches often emphasized empowering team members, so providing clear goals and expectations, offering ongoing support and mentorship, and fostering a culture of continuous learning and development within the team. Less command and control, more enablement.
When discussing how they resolve conflicts in the workplace, what common strategies were highlighted?
Facilitating open, productive meetings where all parties feel heard and can express their perspectives, with the goal of working collaboratively towards a mutually agreeable, sustainable solution. That was a common theme, finding the win-win.
What qualities did these candidates consistently associate with being a good and effective leader?
Key qualities identified included being inspirational, providing strong support and guidance, maintaining a clear and compelling vision for the future, and possessing excellent communication skills to keep everyone informed and motivated. A mix of vision and support.
How did they typically prioritize their workload and manage multiple responsibilities?
They often described prioritizing tasks based on a combination of urgency, potential impact on the company's goals, and alignment with overall strategic objectives. And they mentioned using various organizational tools, Gantt charts, detailed task lists to stay on track. Tools matter.
What methods did they employ to ensure continuous improvement in their professional skills and performance?
Actively seeking feedback from supervisors and colleagues, participating in relevant professional development courses and workshops, and staying consistently informed about the latest industry best practices were all highlighted as important strategies. Never stop learning.
What specifically excited them about the job opportunities they were pursuing?
The opportunity to collaborate with a dynamic, talented team and to contribute to innovative projects that have a real measurable impact on the company's success, those were often cited as key motivators, making a difference.
Let's now delve into dialogues that highlighted projects requiring innovative thinking. What kind of examples were shared by candidates?
One compelling example was the development and implementation of a new customer loyalty program. It incorporated creative, novel strategies to significantly enhance customer engagement and retention, showing they could think outside the box.
How did these candidates typically handle receiving feedback from their team members on innovative ideas or projects?
Generally, they described welcoming feedback as valuable insights that could lead to improvements. They talked about fostering a collaborative environment where all team members felt comfortable sharing their perspectives and contributing to the creative process. Openness to ideas.
What organizational strategies do they find most effective in managing innovative projects, which can be a bit chaotic?
Utilizing project management software to track progress, maintaining detailed to-do lists to stay organized, and scheduling regular check-in meetings to ensure everyone was aligned and on track were common strategies. Structure helps even in innovation.
Can you recall an instance where a candidate went above and beyond to meet the needs of a client during an innovative project?
Yeah, one candidate recounted working significant extra hours to troubleshoot and resolve a critical issue for a client, ensuring their operations weren't negatively impacted, and that the client was completely satisfied. It demonstrated exceptional dedication to client service, even when things got tough.
What was their typical approach to learning new skills required for innovative projects?
They emphasized approaching learning with curiosity and dedication, often taking online courses, reading extensively on the subject, seeking out mentorship from experienced colleagues, basically, whatever it took to quickly acquire the necessary knowledge and skills.
What factors typically motivated them to perform at their peak when working on innovative initiatives?
The drive to achieve ambitious goals, the satisfaction of seeing a positive impact from their creative work, and the opportunity for continuous personal and professional growth were key motivators. The challenge itself was motivating.
How do they ensure effective communication within remote teams working on innovative projects? That adds another layer of complexity.
Definitely. They highlighted using a variety of communication tools, setting clear expectations for response times and communication protocols, and scheduling regular video conference meetings to maintain team cohesion and facilitate brainstorming and collaboration even when physically apart.
Can you recall an example of a challenging decision they had to make regarding an innovative project?
One candidate described having to make the tough call to terminate a project that just wasn't meeting its initial goals despite the effort invested, and strategically reallocating those resources to more promising initiatives. It showed sound judgment and resource management skills, even when it's hard to let go.
What role did they see themselves playing in the company when it came to fostering innovation?
They envisioned themselves as proactively leading projects, actively driving innovative thinking within their teams, and consistently supporting their colleagues in exploring and implementing new ideas, being a catalyst for innovation.
Now let's analyze some dialogues that focused on specific professional achievements. What were some of the notable accomplishments highlighted by candidates?
Well, leading a successful product launch that significantly expanded the company's market share was a big one. Also, implementing a process improvement initiative that resulted in substantial cost savings. Things with clear, positive business impact.
How did these candidates typically manage teams with a diverse range of skills and expertise to achieve those successes?
They emphasized understanding and leveraging each team member's unique strengths, fostering open and clear communication, and providing targeted opportunities for skill development and cross-training within the team, making the whole greater than the sum of its parts.
What aspects of their current or previous roles did they find most enjoyable, and how did those contribute to their achievements?
Many cited the intellectual stimulation of solving complex problems and the sense of accomplishment from seeing projects through to successful completion. Those were key sources of enjoyment and motivation that fueled their achievements. They liked the challenge.
Can you recall an example of a time when they had to effectively manage a crisis situation that threatened a project's success?
One candidate described coordinating with IT to quickly resolve a major system outage while simultaneously communicating transparently with affected clients to minimize disruption and maintain trust. That showed strong crisis management and communication skills under pressure, grace under fire.
How did they ensure their teams consistently met project deadlines, especially when facing challenging timelines?
They emphasized setting realistic, achievable deadlines, closely monitoring progress at regular intervals, and providing the necessary support and resources to team members to proactively address any potential roadblocks or delays. Being proactive, not reactive.
What was their typical approach to strategic planning that led to their professional successes?
Their approach often involved conducting thorough market analysis, setting clear, measurable objectives, and developing detailed, actionable plans with specific timelines and resource allocations, a structured approach to strategy.
How did they actively foster a culture of innovation within their teams that contributed to their achievements?
They described encouraging regular brainstorming sessions, actively supporting team members in developing and pursuing new ideas, and providing the necessary resources and a safe environment for experimentation and iterative development, making it okay to try things.
What were some of the significant career challenges they had encountered, and how did they successfully overcome them to achieve their goals?
Facing tight project deadlines and limited resource availability were common challenges mentioned. They highlighted the critical role of meticulous planning, creative problem-solving, and effective resource management in successfully navigating these obstacles, turning constraints into opportunities.
What were their expectations from a new role in terms of contributing to the company's ongoing success?
They often expressed a desire to contribute their expertise to strategic initiatives, collaborate effectively with a talented team, and continue their professional growth within a supportive environment, looking for impact and growth.
And they frequently inquired about the company's work culture. What specific aspects were they most interested in understanding?
Yeah, they often asked about how the company fostered teamwork and collaboration, and what measures were in place to support employee well-being and professional development. It underscores the importance of a positive, supportive work environment for top performers.
Let's now turn to discussions about leading successful projects like, say, a CRM system implementation. What kind of quantifiable results were often mentioned there?
Candidates frequently cited significant improvements in key metrics. For example, a 20% increase in customer satisfaction directly attributable to the successful CRM implementation, demonstrating a clear, positive impact with numbers.
How did these candidates typically handle stressful situations that inevitably arise during complex project implementations?
They emphasized staying calm and composed under pressure, systematically prioritizing tasks based on urgency and impact, and breaking down complex issues into smaller, more manageable steps, a methodical approach to chaos.
What were the main professional strengths they typically highlighted in the context of leading successful projects?
Strategic thinking, strong leadership abilities, and excellent communication skills were consistently identified as key strengths crucial to their success in leading these complex projects. The trifecta.
How do they typically keep their teams motivated and engaged throughout the often demanding phases of project implementation?
They described the importance of setting clear, achievable goals, consistently recognizing and celebrating team achievements, even small ones, and fostering a positive, supportive work environment where team members felt valued and empowered, keeping morale high.
Can you recall specific examples of how they improved processes within their previous roles?
One notable example was streamlining an internal reporting process by implementing automation tools. This resulted in a significant 40% reduction in the time spent on manual data entry and report generation. Huge efficiency gain.
What was their typical approach to building and maintaining strong relationships with clients during project implementations?
They emphasized proactive, transparent communication, actively listening to understand client needs and expectations, and consistently delivering value, ideally exceeding expectations, to build long-term positive client relationships. Partnership focus.
How did they ensure they were continuously learning and staying up to date with the latest project management methodologies and technologies?
Actively participating in industry workshops, taking relevant online courses, staying current with key industry publications. These were common strategies for continuous professional development, staying sharp.
What role did they see technology playing in the successful execution of projects?
Technology was viewed as absolutely crucial, an enabler of both efficiency and innovation. Candidates highlighted their proactive approach to integrating new, relevant tools to enhance project productivity and outcomes, leveraging tech.
How did they typically react to and handle constructive criticism received during or after a project?
They described accepting constructive criticism with an open, growth-oriented mindset, viewing it as a valuable opportunity to learn and improve, and actively applying the feedback to future projects, seeing criticism as a gift.
What aspects of working with a new company and on new projects most excited them?
The opportunity to collaborate with a talented, high-performing team and to contribute to groundbreaking projects with the potential to make a significant difference, those were key sources of excitement and motivation. The challenge and the team.
Okay, finally, let's examine the last dialogue, which focused quite a bit on organization and goal setting. How did this candidate typically stay organized in their work?
They emphasized the consistent use of various project management tools, maintaining detailed daily and weekly schedules, and rigorously prioritizing tasks based on importance and deadlines. Really fundamental organizational strategies, but executed well.
What methods did they employ to improve the overall performance of their teams?
Implementing regular, targeted training sessions for team members and establishing consistent feedback loops to identify areas for improvement were key methods they used to enhance both team productivity and morale. Investing in the team.
What did they identify as the most challenging aspect of their current or previous role, and how did they address it?
Balancing multiple high-priority projects simultaneously was a common challenge. They addressed this by emphasizing the critical importance of effective time management techniques and really strategic prioritization, juggling act mastery.
What was their general approach to setting both personal and professional goals?
They described consistently using the SMART goals framework, making sure goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. It provides clarity and focus, making goals more likely to be reached.
Can you recall a specific experience where they have to learn a new skill quickly to meet a project need?
Yeah, one candidate recounted rapidly learning a new project management software platform. They used online tutorials, did hands-on practice, basically crammed to meet the urgent demands of a critical project. It showed adaptability and a proactive approach to skill acquisition, just getting it done.
How do they typically handle disagreements or conflicts that arose with colleagues during project work?
They emphasized addressing disagreements openly and respectfully, actively seeking to understand different perspectives, and working collaboratively to find common ground and mutually acceptable solutions, focusing on the issue, not the person.
What did they believe were the most critical factors for ensuring the successful completion of a project?
Clear, well-defined project objectives, effective and consistent communication among all team members, and a proactive approach to identifying and resolving potential problems before they derail things. Those were highlighted as essential.
How do they ensure their individual work and their team's efforts aligned with the overarching vision and goals of the company?
They emphasize the importance of regularly reviewing the company's strategic goals and ensuring that their projects and daily tasks directly contributed to achieving those broader objectives, keeping the big picture in mind.
What were their professional aspirations for the future as they looked towards new opportunities?
Aspiring to take on higher levels of leadership responsibility and to drive significant strategic initiatives within the organization were common expressions of their professional ambitions, looking to level up.
And they concluded by asking some thoughtful, forward-looking questions for the interviewer, didn't they?
Yes, absolutely. They expressed a genuine eagerness to learn more about the company's future projects and understand how their skills and experience could best contribute. It showed continued engagement and sincere interest right to the very end.
Okay, let's try and synthesize everything we've discussed here. What are the absolute key takeaways from digging into all these interview dialogues?
Yeah, across all these conversations, several core themes just kept popping up. First, the importance of clear, concise communication is paramount. You got to be able to articulate your thoughts. Second, candidates who effectively showcase their relevant experience with specific, quantifiable examples, those are the ones who consistently stand out. Show, don't just tell.
Right.
Third, demonstrating strong problem-solving skills and a structured approach to challenges is crucial. And maybe most importantly, aligning your personal values and career goals with the company's objectives shows you're not just looking for a job, but a meaningful fit.
So for you, the listener, thinking about your own career journey, how can understanding these insights actually help you in your own job search?
Well, by gaining a deeper understanding of the interviewer's perspective, like what are they really trying to uncover with each question, and by recognizing the strategies behind crafting effective, compelling responses, you can approach your next job interview with significantly greater confidence, clarity, and frankly, a strategic advantage.
Here's something to really consider, maybe mull over later.
Yeah.
Right now, think about how you would articulate your own most challenging project. Or how have you uniquely been able to bridge communication gaps in your own experience? What specific strengths and experiences do you bring to the table that would make you the ideal candidate for your next role?
It's really all about taking the time for that thoughtful self-reflection on your professional journey, and then preparing compelling narratives, little stories that powerfully showcase the unique value you offer to a potential employer.
Thanks so much for joining us today on Everyday English Pod. We really hope this exploration of these interview dialogues has provided you with some truly valuable insights. We encourage you to take some time, reflect on your own interview experiences, maybe even reconsider some of your past answers with this new perspective in mind.